Thank you, Jonathan, for the raid. Thank you, Crash, for letting me steal your lunchtime spot. Thank you. I think there was a sub in there at some point. Thank you, Kashi, for the sub. Welcome in, everyone. This should be a somewhat chill lunchtime stream, I think. We'll get some Zelda going. I added a bunch of new emotes and I don't think any of them have come through yet, unfortunately. Oh well. Oh no, wait, they are. There's new emotes that are follower ones, so everyone should be able to use them. Arc of Ages isn't all about Link's gender identity, you know, not this one. Oh god, none of those show up on the stream. I wonder if I refresh this, if it'll work. I did update the stream title and game. I did start with the wrong one though, so you might need to like refresh it. But I hit go live as Jonathan was finishing up while I was making coffee, so I didn't change anything. So I just hit go live so that, you know, you all had somewhere to raid into. Oh, that coffee's good though. Right. I don't remember where we were, except obviously in a dungeon. But I don't think we did any of this dungeon, we just kind of started. But I also need to open up the... Let me check. Oracle of Ages, Link Secrets. So for people who haven't been watching this, or don't remember or whatever, because I've not been doing it super frequently, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons have a kind of combined mode where you get codes in one game, you put them in the other game, and then you can like get unlocks that go between both games. So throughout the course of this, we'll be switching between Oracle of Seasons, which we finished before on stream. This is the save that we finished on stream a while ago. And Oracle of Ages. And we'll go through and we'll switch as needed. I don't know how much that'll happen today. Yeah, multi-track oracling. Also, Oracle of Ages is more puzzle focused, so you're probably going to get me... You're going to see me get stuck, basically. Because I'm not good at puzzles. But I do have a guide open for the specific like secrets, because most of them are really easy and you walk into them anyway. But there's a couple that aren't, so I just don't want to miss any. I think it's fun to show them all off, so we'll keep track of it on there. Now, give me a second. I'm going to drink more coffee, and then we'll get started. Yeah, so like the Game Boy Color stuff's great. It looks so nice. I want to make a tactics game with a Game Boy Color for, you know, making... Yeah. There's a Game Boy Studio thing that's supposed to be really good for making Game Boy games. I've not touched it though, so I don't actually know how complex it is or how. I mean, making games is going to be complex no matter what you're using for it, I guess. But I really want to mess with it at some point. Some kind of tactics game would be cool. I really love these games. I played these games as a kid, Oracle Seasons in particular. So I mentioned this last time, but I still have my original Oracle Seasons cartridge. And when I first got my Analog Pocket and I did the Analog Pocket stream where I went through all my cartridges and checked which ones worked and which ones didn't, my Oracle Seasons cartridge still worked, but it also, it worked fine. It had all my saves and stuff like that. I tested it out a little bit because I was cleaning all my cartridges and stuff at the weekend, and so I chucked it back in again to make sure, it worked after I cleaned it, and the battery's dead in it now. It was like the last gasp of it last time, so that save file's gone now, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. But I'm gonna have to do surgery to it at some point and replace the battery in it. That's just the unfortunate thing about Game Boy Color games is the batteries are going to have to get replaced at some point. Because they use the battery to keep the save file alive, basically, or the memory awake that keeps the save file on it. So once the battery dies, it means that every time it loses power, it just wipes, which is not ideal. Game Boy Advance games, some of them do that, some of them don't. Pokemon games use like a battery for. Oh, that seems bad. There was a loud sound far off, like something being knocked loose. Okay, well, I'll be the puzzle for this then. But yeah, I really like these games. I think the whole like combination thing where you send passwords between the two games is really smart. 4 crystals, tie it all together. Okay, thanks. I suddenly try using save states on analog. Yeah. I've been making save states, but I've not actually been like loading them. Oh, one of these again. This game really likes these. Right, so we smash all these crystals, I guess. It's just like Final Fantasy 16. A lot of bombs, a lot of... Looks like we need to move that statue here as well. Let's just see how it works for like crystal or something. I would be careful with it, because I don't know, I think it's been fixed, but people definitely said there was like issues with save states and specifically the Pokemon games at one point on analog. Is there anything I should do here? I can't actually push any of these. Can I throw this over here? Aha. This didn't help. I think I did so. Oh no, I did do something right. Fuck that crystal. Oh, that didn't. Okay, the crystal is bomb-proof, I guess. But yeah, apparently the saves can kind of get messed up. But specifically with Pokemon games, like most other games apparently are fine. Pokemon games save weird. Alright, 2 crystals down. Chuck this guy over here. Can I do one more? I need to push this so much. And we got a key. Midnight chips. I'm very jealous of that. I mean, it's not midnight here. It's only 1 PM, but I could go for some chips, honestly. Garlicky oil, that's decadent. I mean, it's not really decadent, but it's good. Tasty. Then we go here. It's always midnight somewhere. That's it. That's how it works. Can we push this? Of course not. That'd be too easy. There's a crystal over there. This kind of pattern means that there's like a room under here that we can fall into. If you saw the size of the ball, okay, I buy it's decadent. Yeah. Sorry, now are we coffee break? Could be a lot of those, because this is my first coffee of the day. So, can we do this then? Can we just like look back around and use that? Do need to go down that hole, see what's in there, but the way this thing works is that it rotates round, and then when once you use it once, it changes direction. So now that we've walked around, we can get it to go the other way and go up here. What sort of coffee do you have? I would need to check. It's a filter coffee, but I forget where the actual beans are from. It's from a roaster in Edinburgh called Cairngorm Coffee. But I made it in a, what do you call it, a Chemex like filter thing. And it's just black. I usually don't put milk in my filter coffees. Stone shoulders do not fear swords. That makes sense. I've been making lots of like espresso based drinks. Honestly, most of this year because I bought an espresso machine at the start of the year. And oh god, are these guys the stone soldiers? I guess they must be. Try to bomb them. And so I wanted to have a filter coffee for a change. The beans would be meaningless to me anyway. That's fair. Look, I have fallen down a coffee hole in terms of, you know, meaningless. Perfect, perfect. No notes. Give me the fairy. Get over here. Oh my god. At least we got a key. The forbidden bean. I love coffee. I've got way too much into coffee. I've become that person. In the past like few years in particular. Although I'm still not actually particularly great at making coffee. But you know, coffee's coffee. But this filter coffee is really nice because it's it tastes really sweet. Which is weird because like it's just coffee beans, you know? It's not like I've put a sugar in it, it's not like it's one of those weird flavoured coffees or anything like that. It's just naturally the type of beans it is. It tastes almost kind of caramelly, as though you had put sugar in it. It's weird. I quite like it. Gonna be Lurk, want to get some Pokemon Rogue in before I switch to Golden Sun tonight. No worries. I'm glad you're enjoying Pokemon Rogue. It's one of those mods that I've been meaning to play for a long time, and kinda you doing all the randomizer stuff just reminded me of it, so I was like, oh man, I should play that actually. And it is really fun. Maybe someday I'll do a stream of it. But I'm also really bad at Pokemon, so it would be a nightmare stream. It would be so frustrating for all the people in TOS that are like actually good at Pokemon, as I like assign the worst moves to things and so on, and be like, it'd be a mess. Right. So I've got the wrong button. This button? We have a map now. The Moonlit Grotto. Very moon shaped. I think the thing is that playing a game badly is also fun, Kashi, so we kind of just need to accept that at some point. You know what? There's tactics? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I make the guy shoot big fireball. Then people are like, that fireball misses 5% of the time, so you shouldn't be using it. I'm like, oh, you're right. You're right, though. This is why whenever I do the raids in Scarlet and Violet, I just wait for someone else to post, like, the build you have to make, and then go make it. And just follow that. Oh, weird, that rotates that thing over there. I mean, there's bombs here. There's no way I can, like, throw a bomb and it bounces off this, though. I think I'm gonna get the boomerang in here. Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna get the boomerang soon, then. Oh, we can do this. Okay. No, we can just move that one. Can we move any of the other ones? Game, what you did to me. A lot of throwing bombs and stuff in this level. Okay, this one didn't open. Also, apologies, I'm a little bit sniffly today as well. One of those days, you know? Right, did any of these move? Sweet, sweet pink badge here. Oh, you was that one. Founder. I guess because you were one of the first subscribers? I don't know what founder badge is. Smash this gem. So we should only have one more of these to get? I don't know what they're actually doing yet. 10 subscribers, okay. I think that means that anytime anyone subscribes at the moment, they'll get... Oh, actually, that's probably not true, because Crash gave, like, a ton of subscriptions out to try and get me this reset animated emote. Crash gifted a ton of subs to unlock that spot because he wanted it. Because he made it and wanted it actually used. Which is pretty funny. Incredibly unnecessary. Yeah, I'll just assume it means no one cool person cashier. Classic Crash behavior, yeah. Where have we not been? We've not been down here. Have we get in here yet? Wait, we have been in here. Forget what locked this. Oh, there's like stairs that go up there. Okay. I think I might need to go back downstairs. I think Crash like allocates himself like a budget of this is how many subs I can buy or gift every month, which is a smart way to do it. I don't know if that's given. I don't know if that's true. That's what it sounded like. Oh yeah, we've got tons of shit to explore down here. Let's keep going. Right, we can't do this yet. It's down here. Did we go this way before? This is just it. I assume this is whatever the thing is we're smashing will land. Right, we killed this guy again. But yeah, I really like this game. I still think I like Seasons more. Oh yeah, this is this bit. I'm actually not sure where we have to go. Because we can't do it in here. Oh wait, there's a door here. Does this open when I kill this guy? Good luck for me, good luck. We should blocks. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you again for the raid as well. Hope the meeting's not too bad. Here we go. Very Chips challenge, this block pusher business. Yeah, it's all... Like I said, this This one's a little bit more puzzly than the last one was. Oh, is this a... We have to hold the bomb a bit? Nope. Got it. Yeah, like Oracle of Seasons is much more just like, go fight things. There's some puzzles, but it's definitely a lot more of go stab a guy, you know? Like this. There's something in here. It's in one of these moves. Did this one? None of these seem to move. Oh. Oh, I need to make it symmetrical. That makes sense. Alright, keys. Where was there a locked door? There's a room with a chest in it up there. Let's go up that way first. I never understood what these are meant to look like. They kind of look like the tops of bunnies, but with like tiny little feet. It's like bunny heads with tiny little feet. Going up. This way? Oh, so it's in this room, whatever the chest is. Weird. Well, there's no keyhole here. It must be back downstairs. But I hope everyone's having a good Friday. I kind of lost track of time and didn't really realize it was Friday because I've been off all week. And the week just kind of, the way it always does when you're off for a week, it just vanished. It doesn't help that I had like work done in the flat and stuff this week, so... Nope, that was not the button I pressed. The good news is we finally have smart meters installed. Which we've been trying to get for a while. We literally contacted our energy company to get smart meters installed, like, it was before the pandemic at this point. And they sent a guy out, like, after the first lockdown. And he was like, hey, your flat's too old. This shit's too old. We need, like, special bracket to update your meters. So we'll get back in contact with you and do that later. And then, like 2 years later, we finally got contacted saying, hey, by the way, you still want smart meters? And we're like, yeah. Of course we do. Oh my god. I'm just going in circles at this point. Back by smart meters. 2 years. Yeah, it's literally been multiple years. It's been kinda annoying. Like, there was a big gap between us applying for, or like asking them to install smart meters and them even getting back in contact with us and sending the first guy out in the first place. When they called for the second one and were like, hey, we're going to install smart meters, we told them, we were like, hey, you sent a guy out like 2 years ago at this point. He said they need the bracket, and then we just never heard back again. And they were like, we don't have any record of that. And we're just like, what do you mean you don't have any record of that? We have the emails from you guys. But it sounds like they just didn't want to do it. So he's just like, yeah, I need a bit, and then just left. I don't know where I need to use this key. I'm just going in circles at this point. Let's go back this way. I waited 2 years for a Kickstarter toothbrush. Absolutely worth it. It's definitely cut down on waste. That's fair. The supplier in question is Shell Energy. Just because they were the cheapest one. But yes, they are all bad. I don't have like boomerang or anything yet, right? I feel like I'm missing something with this bit. There's no way that like bombs are going to hit off that. Yeah, I definitely need something else. Like metal toothbrush handle, biodegradable heated. Blech. Oh, not bristles. Oh, head, not heated. Heated would be bizarre. Don't know why I read that. We don't have to buy a new plastic toothbrush every time, but yeah, I got this is silly, but I got like an electric toothbrush for the first time in a long time. And it's nice to just be able to replace the heads rather than the whole thing every time. I am so confused about where we have to go. I feel like maybe we have to open this door somehow. But killing this guy doesn't do it. And once we've killed things, I'm out of ideas. That kind of limits of my puzzle solving abilities. I also only got an electric toothbrush a few years ago. Yeah. I've been meaning to for a while, it's just I got one. Yeah, we're all in this together. They're all scummy. Remember, it's just a pet. Seems like I'm missing something. Apologies for the stream just being me going in circles, but you know, sometimes that's what happens. Record profits during the cost of living crisis, yeah, it's... I hate it. Used to hate the sensation of it when I was younger. Felt like my jaw was vibrant. Yeah, I was the same. I used to hate it. I actually like finally, the thing that finally got me to like switch over to an electric toothbrush, because it's not like I've got a post somewhere or anything, I've just been like, normal ones are fine, is that I have quite sensitive gums and they've been getting kind of worse. Not worse, but you know, it can be a bit of a pain, and electric toothbrushes just seem better for that kind of stuff. They're good at making sure you don't fuck up your own gums by brushing too hard and stuff like that. Yeah, what on earth, bro? Oh, that was not something I expected to read in chat today. Wait, there must be another crystal down here. Let's go back up. Let's go up again. See if we miss something there. I didn't read out. I'm not reading out everything in chat. I'm not Mikey. I'm just reading out stuff I'm responding to, and I'm not responding to that one. That one wasn't for me. That was for Shannon. You can think I should all you want. Oh my god, it's not safe for auditory media, it's true. That's okay though. Oh, it's right there. But it doesn't blow up. Alright, at least I know where the crystal is now. I walked past it before, just didn't even see it. Yeah, I know that one. We did this one. We got the key out here. I feel like this dungeon is gonna be this whole stream. Oh, give me my shield. Let's just sit in this corner and wait. Gives me time to drink some more coffee. You did explain Cracker Power Stream, that is true. That was a fun stream. Oh, thank god we got a fairy. So did we miss something over here? Oh my god, there's tons of these guys. I don't remember there being all these guys here. Did we miss something up here? Oh yeah, here we go. Key door. Easy, we just never checked this room. Oh, those are creepy looking. If there's in here, there's a lantern which we can't light yet. Oh, we're gonna get this slingshot in this one. This is gonna be the slingshot one. I can tell. I can tell. So we get these guys together. We bomb them. Stand there. Group together. Done. Oh, and blow myself up too. The seed shooter, this is different from the slingshot. Pick your seeds, fire, then watch them ricochet. Oh my god. I completely forgot there was like different items in this game. That's fun. Oh, you should have diagonals too. We got a gun. Larkin came back to Brad's comment, I know, right? Wait, what did that do? Oh, it opened that door, okay. Oops. Come on. You can only shoot like one scene at a time, it looks like. I was looking for a mod, but it appeared for me has none. Crash is a mod, but Crash is currently in a meeting. Yeah, I don't have mods. Mods are... I believe in chaos. Say what? Oh, I can't even do it from here. Never mind. There you go. You've received a promotion. So these have mods as work as is. I do feel like I need to turn on the content classification thing that warns people about this being an adult stream with that comment, so please do not abuse this power. Right, we need to go back to that room downstairs. I was downstairs, right? The The one that had the yeah, this one. Oh my god. Don't wait, can I shoot these guys? Who did this? Perfect. Did you know I'm a mod in as many as 2 channels, chaotic channels there are? I don't think I'm a mod anywhere. That's probably for the best. Right, so I need a key. Oh, I know I need to do this. Oop. Key, no? Alright, I'm not gonna lie, that's not what I was expecting. I thought there'd be a key there. Now I'm confused. Alright, let's go back. I guess there's a key somewhere we haven't got. What's wrong with this wholesome Friday chat? That's true. This is what happens when I take over the lunchtime spot, apparently. The good thing is, I'm also off work, so we don't really have a time limit here. So I will do something other than just this dungeon when I eventually figure out what the fuck I'm doing in this dungeon. Much day closer for bad decisions in politics. Exactly. Exactly. It's been a while since I've got into politics on my stream, I think. Probably overdue. But bad decisions, I've got lots of those. Right, this is this bit. I don't know about that. This is... Something's up with this controller. Because I'm not hitting that button when it opens up that menu. Politics. Look, I don't really have any hot politics takes today. I'm too tired. You know, Tories are bad. Fuck TERFs. That's kind of all I've got for you. Hot chip? What's hot chip? I'm too old for that. There's a chest in here. I'm so worried about where this is going. That is not... What is that question? Oh my god. No, I think it's a good mod still. There's not even a good joke, has it? Yeah, there's not. need this. Oh wait, am I an idiot? I'm an idiot. We just got a thing that can bounce around corners. Something being knocked loose. Oh, we fucked this dungeon up. Something heavy fell down below. Right, let's go down. I think that means that this room back here has the spinny thing is gone. What a terrible day to have eyes. Agreed. Alright, I got a seed. That's useless, but whatever. No, I'm breaking everything. So the good thing is that spinny thing should now be down here. So we should be able to access the rest of the dungeon. Best answer is the NWO, but not from actual conspiracy theory, more from wrestling. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But even then, I mean, think about who was in the NWO and think about them now. It is entirely justified to say Hulk. Yeah. Hulk Hogan has made terrible life choices and then lied about a ton of shit, and some of the things he's lied about has been funny and like, why would you lie about that? And some of them are like, what the fuck's wrong with you? As it turns out though, most old wrestlers, not good people. Some of them, pretty good. A lot of them, oof. Oof! Right, there's chest in here, but we need to go down to the right and get it. Again, I'm not hitting that button. Controller's acting weird. Where we claimed he was nearly Metallica. Yeah. Yeah. That one's pretty funny. Oh shit, a boss fight. Or a mini boss. As long as I'm underground, your attacks don't scare me. Well then, good thing I've got this shovel. Eat shit. Imagine actually using a shovel in a boss fight. This game's pretty good. That was a stupidly easy boss fight. I mean mini boss fight, but yeah. Oh my god, this room looks complicated. Let's go up here. So that's the boss room. Stuff. So we obviously need to like hit that switch somehow. Oh well. I don't know if that's how we're meant to do this, but... Oh jeez. There's only dance now to help. Oh my god. Yeah, you gotta diversify. Oh no. Oh, I'm missing here. We also have to bounce this. Can I, like, bounce off this? Nah. There's like another room we can go in over here, so let's see if we can get this. One of those blocks looks out of place. Like here? There's that one there blocking us. What do you mean up here? Because yeah, up here there's... Oh shit, you're right, this one. You're a genius. You're a genius, Jonathan. So there's probably a locked door back down here. Yeah, I also try, but I fail. So we want this to take us... I wonder if we teleport back and go all the way around, if that'll... Let's try that, actually. We'll use this to teleport back and see if it resets the tower, because if it doesn't, then that should get us into the other room. You'll get my way. Oh, God damn way. There you go, jump in this hole. The good thing is, taking ages in this dungeon means that the tree gets to sleep in the corner there. He's getting the Sleepy Friday we all want. Oh, we came in here before. Ah, I didn't notice that was there before though. Oh my god. I don't know if this is doable. There must be other block that can move. Yeah, okay. That would be quite silly. It's just like, I don't know, figure out. Maybe we'll go to this from here. I wonder if we can move the ones at the other side. You go away. Let's just need to get it at the right angle then. Because none of these ones move. Oh, close. I think I'm going to fall if I move it closer. I don't think this is how you're meant to do this, but you know what? Fine. I'll just inch all the way to the edge. However, it wasn't even worth it. It was not worth it at all. So we want to go to the one to the right now. So if we do this... If we do the opposite of what we just did... Go away. Go away. Oh wait, actually it's even easier. We don't need to do that. Oh, we do, because that door only opens from that side. Ugh. Ugh. Let's do... Is there a way back round from here? I don't think there is. I think it's just teleport. That one. Theoretically, I think I can get back down there from there. Too much doing. This is only like the third dungeon in this game. So I'm definitely gonna get stuck in some of the later ones. Just need to get ready to go out. Yeah, you should do that. Get ready. Yeah, I'm like that. I'm terrible about leaving my house. Even when I have plans, I just get anxious about it and I'm like, I need to go. I'm simultaneously very excited to go to this retro market thing on Sunday and also completely fucking filled with anxiety. But it'll be fun. But yeah, see you, Shannon. So if we do this... and then teleport back. So if we do the opposite of what we just did... This is probably overthinking. There's probably a simpler way to do this. But... this is going to work, so we're going to do it. Oh my god, you motherfucker. People are excited. I'm like, more question of anxiety. Yeah, I'm always like that. Not a big fan of. I mean, I'm fine once I'm out, but I'm not a big fan of going out and socializing. Once I'm actually out, it's fine, but it's the, you know, getting ready to go out bed that I'm like, oh, what if I just didn't? Yeah, same, actually same. Right, so now I've teleported back here, the tower thing should still be set to go to the right, or clockwise. Let me go here finally, in the most convoluted way to get here. We have another puzzle. Interesting. That's pretty fun. I quite like that one. I remember being so excited for my school formal, and then one of my parents drove me there. I was like, "Oh, I feel I had a lovely time." Yeah, anxiety does lie. Look, anxiety is all in your head, which doesn't mean that it's, you know, not a terrible thing that gets in the way of lots of stuff, but it means you can fight it. And a lot of times I lose that fight, but you can fight it. So we have the boss key now. Still don't know how to get... I guess we should check if we can get through that door. Bonus is that when it's really important, like in Crisis Should Be Fine. Yeah, true. True. I think the weird thing for me about my anxiety stuff is that mine is almost always like I get anxiety like before stuff, but wait, is that the? Hold on. I get anxiety like before stuff, but like during stuff I'm like really calm. Like I'm generally a pretty chill person, I think. This is not the thing I meant to have. So we can open this key door here, right? Easy. Oh my god. And this is gonna be the way. I keep hitting this too many times. Spamming the button. Boss time. Now. It's been a while since I've done this. Oh god, it has been a while since we've done this. Get your predictions in. Will we beat the boss the first time? We don't know what the boss is. I don't know what the boss is. I played this game when I was a child. I don't know what the mechanic for it is. I will say that, not to skew it or anything, Oracle of Ages, we do have stuff pulled in from Oracle Seasons that make us a little bit stronger than we should be at this point. But I do also think I died first time on the last boss, so don't, you know, it could go either way. Me being bad at the game balances out the fact that we have, like, buffs. Playing the odds, fair enough, fair enough. We have, as this ends, we have 86% on yes, 14% on no. There'll be a big payout if I die. Well, that's creepy. You cannot see who I am, for I am your shadow. Oh, great. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, okay. I need to hit them with the bounce shot. Yeah, the shadow does have good hair. I don't know if our ring that gives us buffs will actually help here. They're not using sword. I think it's just for the sword. I think staying near the wall seems like the good choice because we can get that bounce quicker. Alright, that was actually pretty easy. As far as bosses go, pretty easy. Everyone that had faith, you're getting the monies. That was a fun boss mechanic though. The fun use of the weapon we got in the dungeon. We got the echoing howl, an essence of time. It echoes far across the plains to speak to insolent hearts. What the fuck? I feel like they had to try a bit harder with what you actually get in this game because like Oracle of Seasons was like you got some soil to grow stuff, you got some snow, you got, yo. Amy's Tower will soon be complete. Once Amy's Tower is done, history shall remember me as the greatest of queens. Generally we remember our queens best based on how big a tower she builds. Why no one remembers Lizzie as being a good queen. She didn't build any towers. Oof. Consider how many points you want. Yeah, Pattern B is always bet on Pattern B. I think it's funny how like kind of in tune with Illbleed's like odds in terms of like what patterns you get. We've all kind of become just from watching Jason. I've never even played that game. Peaks northwest of the city. Right. And get the fuck off this island. Kinda forgot we were on an island, honestly. This huge fish washed ashore. That's not a fish. Very exciting flavor. Don't eat them. Get the fuck out. Ember seeds. What an exciting name. Will you trade ember seeds for our fish? Yeah. You go eat these seeds. Yeah, that's what you fuckers deserved. I was always eating. I'm Dimitri. I can swim in the sea. Are you going somewhere? I can give you a ride. Thanks, Dimitri. I chomp when you press A. And I swim like a fish, even up waterfalls. You can even carry me using the power bracelet. I like Dimitri. I kinda wish we had done the stuff required to get Dimitri to be our, like, default ride. But can we just, like, go into the ocean now? Oh, it's like Pokemon style where there's tons of shit blocking you, which makes sense. I'll get lost if I go too far. I think we can't go through the water. Yeah, okay. That'd be silly. No whirlpools. I had that with Dark Souls for a while where multiple people were streaming the same game and I was like, oh, I know what's going on here. And we have to go. Made it harder not to backseat. I feel like every time I try backseat, I always get wrong, which is funny. Also, I don't do it very often. I try only to do it if I actually feel confident about something, which makes it even funnier if I get it wrong. we should actually be doing our secret now, I think. So let me check. What was the last one we did? We did the pirate one. So, done that one. We did the pirate one. Oh wait, actually I might be wrong. We might actually have another dungeon we have to do first. Oh yeah, we have to do a 4th dungeon before we can do this. That's crazy. Alright. Sorry. Oh no, he's fell asleep. Bully. The Switch has fallen asleep. There we go. Let's wake the tree back up. I think I've done it a few times accidentally in my enthusiasm, but I tried to ask first. Yeah, I don't just like throw stuff out unless people are like looking for tips or, you know, guidance or anything. Oh my god, my Switch doesn't want to sit in the background. Got another call. Good luck with the next dungeon. No worries, Jonathan. It's a busy Friday. I usually have a ton of meetings on Fridays as well. Oh, we can do this now. I'm actually slightly annoyed. My work has like started doing Does this mean the audio like went out of sync? I don't know if it's been out of sync the whole time. I've just noticed. Well, it's fixed now. Wait, we did this already, right? So we got Tingle. Did we get Tingle? Oh no, we climbed up to get Tingle before. Let's see if Tingle's got anything new to say. Hey buddy. Look at all the mystical seeds you've gathered. Tingle the fairy can make it so your satchel can carry more seeds. Yeah, go for it. Tingle, Tingle, Kulu, Limpa. Oh, I almost just took a drink of my old leftover coffee. That would have been bad. Alright. These are the magic words that Tingle created himself. Don't steal them. Do not steal. What's over here? It's just that way down. Okay. Yeah, Tingle is creepy. Even the game knows that Tingle's creepy. Clumsy, that's a good emote. Alright, I don't know if she has anything we need, but... Taking some of your money. My weight. Or save Crash. Yeah, I think all of our emotes are... So many people's emotes are from Crash. I think some animals in the wild really like people. The tower seems to be getting taller. Is it just me? No, that's how building works. Well, I guess maybe it's getting built in the past, so... He's like, why is the tower big? Like, big? No one's doing anything now. We're gonna go northwest. By speed and setting up. I'm surprised it got approved that quickly. Sometimes it can take a while. Oh yeah, we can swim. We've been making breakfast twice on accident. Give me some of it, please. Top breeder in town. My dog's much cuter than that dog. Much cuter, but my dog is very shy. Do you know of any good way to hide his face? No. Oh, we need to give... I'll talk to them in a minute. There's, I do appreciate that. It's like, you can't read the sign from the side, idiot. Oh, he might be in the past. We need to give the mask guy the meat that we got, because that's the next stage in the... We got this tasty meat. House specialty. We need to give that to the mask guy, but I think he's in the past. Great timing. This bird just told me that Zelda is on her way to Lena village. I came to meet her, but oh what a mess. A red monster appeared right before my eyes and carried Zelda off. It flew towards the tower. What am I to do? Zelda's a symbol of hope for the world. If anything happens to her, all hope will be lost. You must save Zelda. Please, Proto. You must find a way to save Zelda. This is... I think this only happens because of the Link game. Like, generally in Oracle of Ages, Zelda doesn't show up till the end. Turtle works faster than you. You're too late, Pro. You did me a favor in Holodrum. I've taken the princess you're looking for. Save Zelda, never heard that storyline. Well, the thing is, this game is not about saving Zelda. That's the thing. This is like a bonus. They added a bonus where you can save Zelda. You save or try. Alright, well, let's do this then. I don't think this is the next dungeon. This is just an extra thing. If you can dodge my attacks and make it up here, you can have your precious princess back. But it will never happen. Bonus damsel, that's it. Oh my god, it's just... They made Donkey Kong... They put Donkey Kong in here, like the game. Pretty funny. Also, I just watched the Mario movie for the first time yesterday, like the animated one, not the OG one. Yesterday, and that movie's pretty good. We saved Zelda. That was literally just they put in a weird Donkey Kong minigame. My name is Zelda. Oh yeah, we've never even met her. I knew at first glance. Take this as thanks for rescuing me. We got a ring. Yeah, let's go outside. Garr. Yeah, that's how I laugh too. I'm so worried. Why did you come alone to such a dangerous place? A world filled with sorrow and despair, withering away. The triangle on your hand is left. Oh my god, your left hand's the mark of a hero. We cannot let Varen. No, Varen's the villain, right? It's been so long since we've even seen the villain, other than her disguised as the Oracle of Age. If you don't gar her hard, do you even laugh? It's true. You can thwart Twinrova and save the world. Please, Proto, chase the darkness away with your mighty hand. Alright. And protect this land. Please, please. For now, we must hide in Naira's house and wait for the world. Word for Proto. Proto, you're headed to the mountains in the northwest. I heard there's a trail west of here. Be careful. Yeah, this is like... I'm pretty sure not in the original game. Or, I say the original game, like in the base game if you don't connect the Oracle of Seasons save file. So I want to go get this ring of praise, see if there's anything good. Aye. Praise it, please. The blue joy ring. Beasts to drop double hearts. That's pretty handy, actually. I should probably pick that one up. Probably better than this one. Flash ring, blue lock, holy, discovery, blue joy ring. Alright, let's do that. So we go west. Although actually I want to go past first. Let's do the next bit of the trading puzzle thing. Then we'll head west. We might be able to head west, isn't it? He looks more anxious than usual. Tower's almost complete. Terrible things will happen if you don't hurry. An essence echoes near the peak northwest of Lina City. Okay, we'll go there next. I get it. Also, we were speaking earlier about how cozy this game looks and how nice the artwork looks. The little bear lying on his stomach at the top there. Adorable. Might make an emote of that at some point. It's the cute little bear. Right. Let's go. How's it going, buddy? You just dance there. I think we're here. Yeah, I met them. Nope, this isn't him. Where was the mask guy? He was outside the city. Or village in this time period. Oops. I think the audio went out of sync again. we do know about the bloody Toki. Those assholes stole all my shit. This is not... Where's the mask guy? I remember his like house being kind of separate from everywhere else, but I don't think it was up here. Because this seems like the way to the next dungeon. Oh shit, we do this though. What we get? We got a ring. Let's go back down. Made you pay them for it. Yeah, we have to buy back our own shit. That's capitalism for you. This is the forest, this isn't where we want to be. Alright, I might end up just looking it up. We don't just wander around aimlessly for ages. I just remember his house being kind of separate from all the rest of the houses. I don't remember where it was. Maybe it is in the present. Give me a second. Let's cheat. Let's cheat. Trading sequence. Tasty meat. Apart from the Happy Mask Salesman in his mask shop in the present. So it was in the present. Okay. Back to the present. I think we should be able to do next at least 2 steps of this. I guess we can get that ring appraised while we're here. Hey buddy, what was this ring? Expert's ring. Punch when not equipped. I already have that. I already have the expert ring. Punch when not equipped. Punch when not equipped. There's just 2 rings that do the same thing. Bizarre. I wonder if one of them does like more damage? This isn't the mask guy. Maybe he's outside the city. Can I swim? Oh shit, I can. There's no reason to swim here, but I can do it. Here's our boy. He's so hungry. Pardon me, I just thought you could help. Give him the tasty meat. Take our meat. Food at last, chomp chomp. Why are you staring at me? Oh, you want something? Yeah, I just gave you fucking meat that I got from an island. You won't leave till you get something? Fine, you can have this. Got a doggy mask. Alright, let's go put the mask on the dog. Put the mask on the shy dog. Also, let's go over here and do... Oh, we can't. Oh, I could swim over there and do the thing. Doggy mask. Use down here, right? Here. Take this mask. Look, this dog is like shy, so we're gonna put a mask on it. So it'll be less shy. Here's the toy that her dog played with. It's a dumbbell. That's a strong dog. I only had one to begin with. Oops. It's a strong dog. I don't know who we give the dumbbell to, but we'll see at some point. Anyway. The dog is shy. Look. Look. The dog's shy. We might actually need to be in the past. Because I don't see how we get through here otherwise. Is there a time thing anywhere near here? There's so few spots that you can actually switch time periods in this game. Compared to like... Oh, look at the icon for the tree. It's so cute. Compared to Oracle Seasons where there's obviously like those little tree stubs everywhere. This game's like, please go all the way back to this one spot that you can use. It's weird. Although to be fair, I guess like switching time periods changes like the entire game, whereas the seasons less so. But like it has to change how you get places, so you know it's harder to put them in more places. But still, it's, I don't know. It's a weird choice. It's a weird choice. Let's see. And let's instantly find out that actually we still needed to be in the present. Get my way. Get my way. Get my way. We're going up this mountain. So we want to go over there, I think. We'll just dance on the spot. That's kind of what the animations look like, right? I think there was a piece of heart in here before. Maybe we've done this. Maybe this is, maybe we did just need to be in the present. Like there's nothing here. Maybe we did need to go through the city or through the forest. Jeez. Go this way. We go this way. We did this. I'll be honest, I don't think the map design in this game is quite as good as it is in Seasons. Which, I mean, part of that's just me being an idiot and getting lost. But I'm sure the way forward is really simple. I did. There are trees and other places that bear mystical seeds. Yeah, I know. Yeah, she'll probably want something. Like the destruction of the world. You know what queens are like. Hey, your husband's working on the tower, I get it. Let's check in the present again, man. I'm so confused about where we have to go. Oh, you know what? I know exactly where I have to go. I'm just an idiot. I'm stupid. Back to present. I completely forgot that we got a gun. There was a bit I tried to swim across to like hit a switch, but we can just shoot it. We have a gun. I'm overthinking this. And just shoot the switch. Oh god, why did I jump? Why did I jump? Yeah, not my best moment. Right, I don't care about you guys. Don't care about you guys. Oh god. We're making progress. That's the important thing. This doesn't really bode well for, you know, when we do reach the next dungeon though. I think my brain's just not working today. Lazy, worthless fools. Just as we're building this bridge to Symmetry City ruins, they go off on break. I wait and wait, but they don't come back. We'll never get the bridge done at this rate. I'd go find them, but the terrain around here's too rough. Man can't navigate it on his own. Yeah. No one could do that. Oh wait, no, actually we can't. We need our body. I think our bear friend's gonna be somewhere. There's a guy up there. I guess that's one of the workers. Now, if I was a big blue bear, where would I be? I don't think we're going to navigate it solo, Kashi. I think we're going to find our buddy. Our big bear friend who can fly. Oh. It's a mess. A big winged bear-like animal got lost in our forest and can't get out. We're playing a little trick, but now it'll never get out. Can you help us find it? Do you get our problem? Yeah, okay. Let's go to the forest. Those asshole fairies got my friend stuck. I don't know why I swam. I think I'm gonna hit a dead end. Oh no, we can keep going. Oh no, the dead end. Oh wait, can I go under the bridge? It's definitely a self-made problem. How can they not just like... Oh no, that's dead end, okay. How can they not just like... let them out? Why don't they just stop fucking with them? Have they considered that maybe fucking with people is a bad idea? Causes problems? It's mean? This way. Now we have to go down. Oh, I keep thinking I can get between those trees because there's a gap, but this is a grid-based game. That's not a thing. We talked to her already. Deep in the woods. We don't even know where it is. We didn't mean to be such trouble, really. Yeah, you did. Don't fucking lie to me. Right, we found him. That wasn't... I legitimately didn't know that would work. I just went down, up, down. Or, down. Did I go up first? Up, down, up. Back in the same spot, I'm so hungry I can't move. Are you lost too? You found it, okay, we'll take you to the edge of the forest. Well, that was actually surprisingly quick. Why didn't you just take him to... Oh, I guess they couldn't find him either. Sneaking is more fun than hiding. Really, I want to do it again. Next time will be harder. Don't... No! Stop doing that! How is the lesson they took from this hey, we should make this harder next time. Those assholes. Take this flute, play the flute. We got Mush's flute. Mush will come to your aid when you play it. Climb onto my back. Let's go. Now we can navigate that terrain. No man could navigate that terrain on his own, but with a giant flying bear, anything's possible. You solve the problem, you can't expect them to learn anything. Yeah, but I had to save the bear. It wasn't for them, it was for him. It was for Moosh. Our big blue bear friend. Oh. What's the button for the... Here we go. There's a guy up here. Oh jeez. Hey, mash buttons better. Hey buddy. You get off the bear. My boss is an ornery fellow. He does no work but complains about quality. Yeah, sounds about right. Can you go back? Now I'm confused. Got 5 minutes between calls. How's it going? It's going alright. I've got lost a few times. Got stuck in a dungeon in a really easy to solve way because I wasn't thinking straight. But it's going alright. How are your calls going? Yeah, Cashy, I don't know. I don't know if I can get him to climb on the bear. Maybe we just don't need to help this guy yet. Maybe we got a ring. Oh god. Like, maybe we just need to keep going north. We don't need to go to the other town. Just had the bullet person in, so it's been a hectic hour. Yeah, I don't feel him. Yesterday I had my smart meters installed, so that was fun. It went well, and off the project meeting, just trying to unwind between them. Yeah. Forget work, maybe I'll write a poem. You know, I don't want to make this guy go back to work. He should write his poetry. I don't know if it's good, but it doesn't matter if it's good. Sometimes he's gotta do stuff. Maybe we'll talk to the boss again. I know where 2 of his guys are. Oh, I can't get back that way. I guess we're gonna keep going. Welcome in now, robot. Yeah, these games are great. Smash that. Another one down there. I don't have as much knowledge of this game as I do of Oracle of Seasons, because Oracle of Seasons was the one I owned. Like, I only rented, I think, or maybe I emulated Oracle of Ages. He says to build a bridge to cemetery set in ruins, but it's not like anyone's waiting to use it. There's no rush, don't you think? I would like to go there. Oh, I can't get back in the bear. Okay, here we go. I wouldn't mind going to Cemetery City ruins, because I can time travel to when they weren't ruins. Yeah, the art style is gorgeous in these games, and it is very cute and like kind of calming. I do kind of like just having the sleeping deku tree in the corner. Like, I think that's a good chill thing. I had both at the same time, haven't played them since though. Yeah, so I had Seasons and played it repeatedly over and over. Like, I don't know how many times I've finished that game. Oracle of Ages I only ever finished once, so this has been a lot of getting lost. Lazy Worthless Fools, just we're building this bridge. Yeah, I did this. Oh, now I need... Oh my god. Wait, fine. Yeah. Go see Slacker's back, we'll finish the bridge, right. Now I need to go talk to them all again. God damn it. Get back to work, you lazy bum. I want to hang out a while longer, but I can head back. Oh my god, he just left. What the fuck? There was one down here. But yeah, my knowledge of this game is much less than Seasons. This was just where I got that ring, right? Yeah. But I am playing through... So we played through Seasons on stream a couple months ago at this point. And... I'm doing all the link code stuff. So that's why we have Oracle Seasons open in the corner. So that when we need to go into that to enter a code and get a code to put back in this game, we'll switch between them. That may not happen in this stream today, apparently, because the next one is after the next dungeon. So we'll see how long it takes. I'm not doing anything else today, so I might stream a bit longer anyway. But we'll see. Because, you know, other people are going to be on, so we'll raid into... I don't know who else is on today, actually. I didn't check. No worries, Crash. Thanks for checking in. And again, thank you for letting me steal your lunch spot. Although we're well past it at this point. Yeah, go back to work. We're finally here. We just like ditched our bear friend. No more breaks till the bridge is done. That's right, crunch. Best way to get good quality is to crunch. Everyone knows this. Someone had to entertain the masses, that's it. If Crash wasn't gonna do it. No time for breaks, on to the next job. Sorry guys, but I did kind of want this bridge built. Ross is 4 or 5 PM. Alright. Anyway, I'm away. See you, Crash. Oh yeah, because Mikey's not on, because Mikey's away, right? I think a bunch of people are away this weekend. Oh, this town is fucked. Well, at least we got this though. Thank God we can finally fast travel. Sorry for mashing through all the text there, but we've used... Yeah, this town's fucked. They weren't kidding when they said it was ruins. Right. Let's go past, see what the fuck happened here. I mean, it doesn't seem great here either, to be honest. The tuning nut. Tuning nut? Tuning nut. Broken. Least to my problem? Yeah. The closer the Black Tower gets to completion, the stranger the city gets. When the tuning nut broke, the city fell out of balance and the volcano started erupting. The nut is the city's symbol. We dutifully worship this nut. Alright. Left and right need to be in perfect balance, but the tuning nut at the center of the city is broken. Cemetery City is all out of balance. If we don't get the tuning nut fixed and put it back, Cemetery City will be destroyed by the eruptions. You understand? Yes, we need to get the nut. Can't climb restoration wall. Are you going to tell me the exact same thing because this is symmetrical? No. A girl named Patch lives at the top of the restoration wall. I think he can fix the nut. Alright, so we're going to have to climb a wall. Alright, where's our husband though? Oh my god. What happened to your face? What happened to you? Sway right, sway left. Move left, sway right. Move right, sway left. I'm so skinny. I wish I could change. Oh my god. I know, I'll work out, except I have only one dumbbell. Well, good news for you, buddy. We're gonna help you get buff. Oh my god. He seems to be fixated on your dumbbell. Give him the dumbbell? Yeah, of course. Now I can lift, lift, lift. I'll get all the girls now. Oh my god. Why does it look like his mustache is like... I guess that's his nose. It looked like his mustache was like under his mouth. Gotta work out. Oh, okay, well now he doesn't have a mustache anyway. Get the girls, get the girls. Oh my god, what a creep. Well, we have a cheesy mustache now, which we can give to a guy back in the main city, so we'll go back there later. Oh man, this city's like already ruins here. Can we go into any of these? Oh, we can. I was injured by a rock that shot out in the eruption. If you want the nut, go see my brother across town. Okay, because it's symmetrical. I get it. I get it. Let's go to the same bit the other side. Hey buddy, give me your nut. The stranger the city gets. Yeah. I can't leave the city alone. Left and right have to be in perfect balance. My brother is too hard to move, so I can't move either. If one brother goes somewhere, the balance between left and right will be lost. This is such a bizarre city. You can ignore the rules and leave the city. Can you take the nut? Yeah, give me it. I'll leave this to you. He lives at the top of Restoration Wall to the south. After you get the nut fixed, take it to the house in the middle of the city and place it on the pedestal. We will do that. So, to the south. Oh shit, you guys bug off. I guess here's the question is, can we summon our bear friend in the past? I would assume not. Because how would he get here? You know, he was in the present. But the good thing is this town is symmetrical, so I know I can go down this way. Time traveling bear. Yeah, maybe he just shows up. He's just like, yeah, what's up? You rang. Fucking die. We can swim up here. I guess we're just in full exploration mode now. Fishes. Let's see where this takes us. To this guy's house. I'm Toki. I research time. After many years of research, I'm one step away from perfecting a tune that lets one move forward in time, but it seems I've hit a roadblock. Echoes produce waves. What could it mean? I mean, let's try playing the harp, I guess? That's the tune of Echoes. That's the tone my research lacked. It has answered my remaining questions. Now I can finish my tune. Oh shit, we're about to travel into the future. I don't think I can play this on my harp. He sounds so angry. You've many tunes, I grant you a new tune. Time flows when you play the tune of currents. When you play this tune, you'll immediately drift back to your own time. If you're in a place from which you cannot reach your own time, you'll return to the past. Oh, so we can just travel back into the present. Any space now. Choose it when you use a heart bucket. So that's actually really handy. So like if I use it here, will it work? I think this is like as catchy a tune as the original. Okay, we can't use it here. I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, after me just complaining about the lack of time travel spots, the game did just go, actually, what if you just time travel anywhere? Only one direction. So like, what if we go into the present here? Oh, and it leaves a thing like in Link to the Past so we can go back. That's very handy. There's a buckle here. Oh god, there's enemies. I assume this hole isn't something I can just jump into. No, it's just telling me where the thing was. That hole is where the bit that we swam into is. Pretty smart. So, let's go this way. See if we can get up there. Put it here. I guess it's up here. Although there isn't actually anything up here. Alright, let's go back. So, the handy power. There was a bridge like here-ish? I'm just gonna keep messing about this here, because there must be something around here. It's quite a long animation for this though, so we probably won't fuck about it too much. Oh. Worth it for a piece of heart though. Right, let's go back to... I assume that the wall we have to climb is that one that we saw covered in vines earlier. But I don't know. Right, what information do you got for me, you weird owl statue? Nice looking change the land. No shit. I don't even need this to go into the past or into the present anymore though. Oh god, I'm inside a rock. It's kind of funny, the game's just like, look, if you do something stupid like come back inside a rock, then we'll just send you back. This is the dangers of time travel. I do remember reading the thing where someone pointed out that like time travel as a concept is kind of silly. Or time travel as a concept where, you know, in stories it's like you stay in the same spot. It's kind of silly because like the planet Earth is moving, you know? You travel back in time a few months. You're not gonna if you haven't moved through space, then it's not gonna go well for you. That's what we need. We need Link to just like launch himself through time and just get exploded in the vacuum of space. Let's move this. then let's see what's in this cave. Big fancy cave. There's... Oh shit. That's weird. We flooded this side. I assume this side just goes to the other one. Everything's symmetrical here. So now that side's flooded. Actually, maybe we do want this still over here. This game's definitely way more puzzly. But now those statues that were underwater should be visible. Do not throw anything into the water. Did you drop a golden bomb or a silver bomb? What did we drop? I'm googling it. Link throws a bomb, a red fairy appears. She materializes a gold bomb and a silver bomb and asks Link which one he summoned or which one he dropped. If he answers honestly, the fairy rewards him. If Link responds saying he dropped the golden bomb, he asks him to confirm twice, and if he affirms the lie twice, the fairy teaches him a lesson by depleting his life energy to a single heart. I don't know what the silver one does, it doesn't say. Presumably the same thing. We threw a regular one. You're an honest person. I'll increase the number of bombs you can carry. Oh god. 50 bombs a lot though. Thanks, fairy. Sorry for throwing a bomb in your pond. Now let's move this over this side. I don't know whether we want it flooded or not. So I guess let's go check with it flooded, because maybe we need to swim across something. But we might need to switch the water back again. Okay, we did want it flooded. Eat shit, piggy. Right. Let's climb, I guess. I assume we're going the right way. We got bombs, so that's a good thing. All you fuckers can die. And this takes us to another time travel spot. Let's go back to the past again. This is where we changed the flow of the water last time. Right, don't care about you. Don't care about any of you fuckers. Oh my god, there's so many enemies in this area. Get out my way. Swim. Then we go this way. So... Oh yeah, here we are. This is the wall. This is the one that we walked past before, because we climbed up that right hand side a couple of times because I didn't know where I was going. Dodge all these rocks. Can we go into these? No. Okay. What's up, is the guru here? Hey buddy, can you fix this knot? I haven't had any visitors in some time. I'm Patch, the restoration guru. Did you need me? Yes. I see, you want me to repair that knot? My restoration ceremony might fix it. Want to try? Yeah, go for it. You're willing to try? Very well. Follow me. This is worrying. Follow this guy I just met in his basement. Oh my god. This looks complicated. Welcome to Patch's crazy cart. Will you partake in my ceremony? Yeah. You want to hear the rules? Yeah. A lot of mini-games in this one compared to Seasons. Place your knot on that green tile and recite the words of my restoration ceremony. You must knock all the beasts that appear into a hole. Any hole will do. Sounds easy, right? However, restoration is delicate work. Your precious knot sits on these tracks. The cart starts moving when the ceremony begins. As long as you stand on the switch, the cart won't hit your knot. But if you don't and it gets hit, bang. It's fun or delicate ceremony. Sure. Right, we're fucked already. Get in the hole. I need to stand on the button. Oh my god. That was harder than I thought it would be. Alright. I didn't mean that. Do I have another weapon I could use? Not really. Equip the gun and see if that helps. Yes. No. Oh god damn it, I meant to hit no. Blah 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 blah. Hit the button. Kill the enemies. Let's partake in this delicate ceremony. Right, you fuckers all come over here. Oh, I just need to hit it when it gets close. I don't need to hit it at all times. That makes sense. We did it. Ceremony succeeded. You're talented. You got through this trap or ceremony. Here's your knot. Good as new. As usual, I am perfect. Relatable. Relatable. Bring me anything else that needs fixing and I'll prepare my trap or ceremony. I don't think we have anything else, right? No. I hope I never have to do that again. I guess we need to go back to town. Oh, this is literally here. The guru's house is literally just under the town. That's pretty funny. To save their town, they could have just like removed this railing and jumped. We did it. We saved the town. Did we save the town? That looks pretty red. Volcano should calm down. You get the cave cleaned. There's a cave in the volcano? Had a secret cave in it, but that's a secret. Okay. You're whatever. I guess let's go back to the present, see if it's changed anything. Is the town ruins? Is it saved? Did we save it? Did they rebuild? Okay, it looks lovely. What a mess. Do I have to be bigger? What? Welcome to Cemetery City. Perfect balance is the law of the land. Yeah, I know. Oh, the main building's gone now. Yeah, okay. You guys have got a bit less articulate over the years. What a mess, do I have to be small? Alright, because they're not actually symmetrical. They're slightly different heights. Hey, the secret cave's open now. And it's the skull dungeon! Right, let's save. Dungeon time. Let's do this as well. Make a save state. Right. We probably won't need time travel throughout the dungeon. We are gone actually. But it is dungeon time. Oh god. Lots of lava in here. Well, that gets creepy. One of the weakest part about these games is definitely still that, and it's not a thing that you could really do anything about, you know, it's a limitation of the Game Boy. But you need to keep pausing to change your inventory out all the time. Oh god, there's a fire bat. Got a compass. Oh no, one of these. It needs to be blue. Oh no, fuck it, 'cause I can't turn it. Oh, not the dice puzzles. What I need is... this? It's still yellow. I'm really bad at these. I don't understand how these work. Like if we do this... we have blue on this side now, but we need to rotate it so that... oh. I did it. We got Smoky. Not a fan of those block puzzles. They're not that complicated, but my brain doesn't like them. Right, we're back where we were before. Let's go back this way, see if there's a key door. Key door up there. Come on. Surely one of you has to move. There we go. The music in this dungeon is pretty good, but also it's a really short loop. I'm sure it's not actually that much shorter than the other ones, but there's something about it, it feels really short. We hit that with the gun. Come on. go. Key. Always love a good key. Now we can stop in this room. See if there's a button in here. Is that stretch? Everyone remember stretch? You fuckers. I'm kinda just doing stuff. Right. I'm not meticulously going through the dungeon in any specific order. I'm just kinda just going where it takes us. I hate these ones. We must get a boomerang in this one. Well, I thought that last time, to be fair. You fuckers. Right, well I guess we're just doing this. God damn it. Stop being assholes. Haha. I'll teach you. I'll get them taught. Right, it's one of these. So we need to jump, change the block colors. I think we have to jump over them technically, so like... Oh, we actually want that one to stay red though. Want this one to be blue. You stay red. This one stays red. This one must be blue. Middle one needs to be yellow. Oh my god. You stay blue. There we go. Anything else in here? Doesn't look like it. Just these assholes. I'm gonna equip this, see if we can get some hearts. Give me some hearts. Oh, there's a cube thing here, right? No! Fucked it. Absolutely fucked it. Let's continue. Oh, we're all the way back here. Now, the bad thing about me not meticulously going through this and figuring out where we're going is that now I don't know where we go. This one, right? We didn't go this way last time, so let's check it out quickly. Oh, there's a chest here. Look at the map! Okay, that's handy. Right. That was worth doing. So it was a good thing we died, really. No, I didn't mean to do that. Right, back we go. Kill this fucker. I need one of you to drop me hearts, because I'm still kind of low. You, heart. Oh no. Oh, we're gonna die at the same spot again. Please be hearts in this. Well, this isn't great. Try to lure the bats over here before I kill them, because if I kill them over the lava, then if they do drop a heart, it'll go into the lava and we'll lose it. I should have brought the ring that slowly recharges your health. It is very slow, but at least they'll be doing something. Then we have to fight these fuckers. Oh, I'm gonna die. Still no hearts. What does this ring do? It doubles. Beasts drop double heart. They're not dropping any fucking hearts though. I guess if they were, they'd be dropping too. You coming up? Come on, buddy. Let's try and be careful. This is where we died last time. There's some little goopy guys here, right? Did they not respawn? Oh my god. They just respawn in weird positions. Right. Yellow in the middle. Blue up here. Blue at the sides. Yellow at the bottom. Thank god. Please also drop a heart. Ugh, whatever. At least the beeping stopped. Oh, now it's starting again. Oh, who designed this? Okay. This needs to be blue. I think I figured out how these puzzles work. They're actually pretty simple. Oh god, snakes. Don't kill me! No! No! We need to go all the way back again. Alright, let's go. At least know what we're doing now. Assholes. Oh, every time I'm gonna do that. Fuck out here. Get this. Back in here. Slap these babs. I did this again. Oh my god. How's it going, Mac? How's your Friday going? We're gonna slap all these bams down. lost so much health to that one end. What's left without picking up that heart? That would be a tragedy. Kill these goddamn bats. Get our power croissant out. Oh god, how much notch that? There's 2 more steps. Oh, I went too fast. But it's good. Finished work and I'm off for the week. Although I'm now sorting out stuff in the attic because it's getting floored on Monday. I have a lot of crap. Ugh. Ugh. I mean, good that you're off a week though. I was off this week. It feels good to just take a week off again now. I was off this week and now I've got like a long weekend in 2 weeks? Whenever my birthday is. You fuckers, get out of my way. My time must be good. I didn't really do much. Played games. Played a lot of Final Fantasy 16 actually. I'm almost finished it now. This is a stupid way. But yeah, didn't do much else. Yeah, took it easy. Held out. I think sometimes you need to do that. Take time off to just take time off. Not necessarily because you're doing something or going somewhere. Yes. No, need it. Every time I do one of these little block rotating puzzles, I think of you doing the dice puzzle at the end of VLR. Which I can't remember if I told you at the time, but I got stuck on that same dice puzzle at the end of VLR for fucking ages. Like it was... I hate that puzzle. Not button pressed. They switch off and not do it and it's like productive, just live. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We get PTS flashbacks to play Dice Fantasy the blocks. Yeah. It's... look... puzzle's not... it's that one of those things where it's not that hard once you get it, but like... that's easy to say once you know how to do it, right? Once you're... while you're figuring it out, it's just... ugh. The ones in this are actually way easier. But it took me a while to figure out the trick, which the trick in this is just... like, rotate them in a circle, basically. Just go like, and you'll get it where you want to be. Right, this is where we died, I think. Just shoot these fuckers. This is revenge for last time. Well, not that one. That one really didn't want to die, which I can understand. Okay, so we do that now. It's weird that blue is go. I wonder if that's like a... I wonder if that's just a weird colour thing where they're like, we need to use green for other stuff, like Link. Or if that's I don't know, are traffic lights a different colour in Japan? Who knows? Not me. We need to kill all these guys? We do. Or we have to kill them. I bet they're going to respawn. Oh, big stretch. Right. Let me move this one so it doesn't fall asleep. Oh no, it didn't respawn. The rare time this game has been nice to us. I have a really bad feeling about this room. Okay. It's funny how like the movement animation for these blocks, like these floor panels, gets less smooth when Link's on them. You sure this meant PTSD wrong? Yeah, I didn't notice that either. My brain just like fixed it as I read it. Alright, come on. Do we need a key to get in there? You fuck off. I'd also like you to fuck off. This one to be blue. Need this one to be blue. Oh my god. Give me that key. I'm enjoying playing this little Game Boy Color game on here though. It's a good wee stream game. Although this one is definitely... I think this one's definitely harder than Seasons was. Hey buddy. How would you like go on fire? I should switch back to my ring that makes my sword strong. This takes me back up here. Just doesn't seem like there's anything to do here. Weird. Can we shoot that thing? No. I wonder what the aim for this dungeon is going to be. Oh, mini boss time. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's a big shield. I was like, what the fuck is that thing? Oh, buddy, stop throwing your sword at me. Hey, buddy, I'm gonna hang out over here. Oh, okay, I thought I could make a sword hit him, but that doesn't seem to be the case. What else can I do? Oh, I do need to get a sword to hit him. He just doesn't want to most of the time. No! My mighty shield is broken. You'll pay for this. Oh shit. He's angry now. And now he's dead. Yeah, I wonder what the item is, because as soon as something does something with these. I originally thought it would be the boomerang, but I don't think the boomerang does it. My shield. Destroyed 3 hits. To be fair, it was destroyed by his mighty sword. Oh, I fucked it. Fucked it. I've never been good at these. Stop it. Get the fuck out of here. Hey, did it. Got the switch hook. Shoot an object to switch places with it. Huh. So I guess that's what we can use on these. Weird. That's a weird mechanic. Prawn gamer. I'm really bad at those kind of puzzles. I'm not good at like any puzzles really, but there's definitely... Okay, I thought I could shoot that from... How stupid it is, I need to go back up on the ledge. This is such a long one of these to fuck up. I'm not like good at any puzzles really, but I do like puzzle games. I think this is probably the closest to a puzzle game I'm going to stream anytime soon though. You would catch me streaming like Professor Layton or anything like that. Or VLR. You'd have to be crazy to stream something like VLR. How's Signalis going, by the way? I've not been able to, like, I've caught bits of the streams, but not as much as I want to. I need to watch the VODs. I really like that game. These are still puzzles, you'll be smashing them, so you're good. You missed earlier. Earlier I got stuck in some really easy puzzles. Oh, can we use this to push the button? That's smart. That's very smart, actually. There's just... I'm not very good at the puzzles in this game, but they are very smart. Like, there's some really good design of very unique puzzles I've not seen in other Zelda games in this. Because the thing I'll say about Oracle of Seasons is that it has a couple of unique things in it, but a lot of the items and stuff like that you get are just kind of Zelda stuff. And it's really well made for one of those, but yeah. Going well, I just need to pay attention, which I struggle with. Yeah, understandable. Understandable. Especially when you're on stream and you're trying to like chat with people at the same time. Always a tough thing, right? Aye. I think I was right the first time. I think I'm gonna do this. And then can I jump? Can I jump 2 spaces? Oh, I guess I can just die. That's obviously the intended route. And then if I do... Is it too far though? Yeah. Can't jump 2 spaces. Huh. That make it close enough? Almost. Come on. Come on over here. Can I just keep doing this actually? I can just keep doing this, okay. But then I need to be over here. This is probably not the intended solution to this, but you know what? It works. But yeah, this like switching places with an object thing is actually a really fun kind of puzzle mechanic. Kind of a smart thing to have in here. So I guess I can use it on these? Ah. Fun. You fuck off. Okay, that's one of these. I have my sword out. Need my jump. I like these rooms just because they look cool. One down bottom right. I just think the way that like the whole room like fills in the colors looks great. Definitely one of the games that really uses the Game Boy Color's color palette to its full potential. Oh, it's not one of these, and I've instantly fucked up. Right, get out of here. Whenever I do one of these, I usually just try to do it like row by row. Feels like the safest way to do it. Oh, you fuck off. In this case though, I need to... God, I think I've messed this up. Oh yeah, I've messed this up. Yeah, fucked it. Right. Let's try go down first. Sure, let's just keep doing this. Nope. Messed up. Not what I meant to do. Really all I'm trying to do is like not leave any like loose blocks anywhere. I'm going to here. This should be fine. Did it! I'm a pro. We got a key. Alright, those puzzles are kind of fun. I'm not very good at them, but it's actually kind of fun. Little puzzle mechanic. Let's do this. Can we just chuck this thing into the lava? This? Yeah. Hey, buddy. I want my revenge. Oh, I was hoping I could switch places with the enemy. But no. The game was like, no, we're not allowing that. There are limits to what we let you fuck about with. Right, so this is where the boss room is. Obviously we don't have the boss key yet. Why did I do that? Need the feather. Oh, so we can even use it in the 2D space. That's pretty fun. We have a key to use here. Hey buddies, do you want to fuck off? Have you considered fucking off? Ah. pull this, and then we're gonna have to run. Not literally, because I don't have the seeds to do that yet, but you know, be fast. Because this only lasts a certain amount of time. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. I think that's doable. I think that's doable. I think you do it better. I didn't do it. Maybe if I jump at the end? Nailed it. Right. Oh, weapon equipped. Right. Damn it. This one seems like it maybe doesn't matter as much because you can just do switch after you get past the first bit. Although not now because I got rid of all the pots. Even this bat hits me, I swear to God. Jump this last bit. Easy. And there's another one here. Huh. This guy. Can we push this? Oh, I fucked up. Oh no, I didn't. No, I fucked up though. I forgot I could switch to the thing. Right, this. Let's just switch this. Oh, no, I can't switch it because if I switched it, it breaks. Okay, so I did fuck up. I need to do this, and then I need to push this. Then how'd I get out here? We have a new issue. Well, I don't think that's how you're meant to do it, but if it works, it works. I need to go all the way around? How do I get the chest? Or this is going to reset, right? Yeah. So from here I can get back up there. I'm really confused. I did this. No way to make it. I feel like I'm missing something obvious. Look at that. Oh, you know what? I have an idea. No! It was not part of the idea, what the fuck? God damn it. There you go all the way back around again. That's annoying. Right. Go. Need the feather craft. I wonder if you can do this without... I feel like I could have made that one without jumping. Okay, I need this thing this time. No! Shit, I can do that. Right. At least if I fall down again, I can get back this time. Oh god, there's now one of these fuckers. This. So I do think I've got an idea of what I need to do here. Just not jump off the ledge by accident. It's... You need to go up here first. Do this. And then do that. Then I can get back across this way. And there's your puzzle. Solved. I'm a genius. Right, let's get back down to the boss door. Which was just the other end of that, right? Puzzle smashed. Right, and here we are. Here go the lava. Please, one of you have a fairy in you. Heart's good as well. Here, come here. Right. It's boss time. This dungeon was alright. Went by a bit easier than the last one, I think. Huh. What is the gimmick for this? Oh, okay. Easy. I'm gonna die, but... Oh, jeez. Do the thing! It's getting like... caught in like a hit stun thing there. Just wouldn't let me do anything. Alright, but that boss mechanic seems okay. We can do it. At least you get back up there without dying. I'd done a protection for that one. One might be rich. Okay, this is just where it came from. Where are we going? Where's the boss room? Down the floor. Motherfucker. And you guys got hearts, thanks. Right, so it's not this way then. It goes in a loop. Right. Alright, we have to go across this way. Come on. Do the grabby. We smashed the puzzles, but we did not smash the boss. But I did figure out the mechanic for it, so that's still good. I remember how to get back down. Not smash the boss yet, that's true. Here we go, stairs. Damn snakes. So cute yet so annoying. This way. We're going the right way, right? Something is up my controller because hitting the select button sometimes seems to open up the or press the home button at the same time. Which is annoying because I like this controller. Fantastic. Don't care about the puzzle in this room anymore because I've already done it. Fuck off. Right, let's deal with this boss. First time. Oh my god. What? I don't know how we killed it that quickly this time, but I'm not going to complain. He just died. Prawn gamer indeed. I don't know what happened there. Ugh. Give myself a reward stretch. Where's north of Nairo's house must be related to the essences. Alright, okay. But the fun thing is we can now do some of the secret stuff. So let's save. So we need to do Clock Shop. After the 4th dungeon, head over to the southern portion of Lena City in the present, just south of the shop. So let's equip this and go back to the city. Can we get back to the city from here? Oh yeah, we can, because there's a tree here. Actually, I think it is this lady. Aren't you Proto? I knew you would meet. How you'd like to hear a useful... Wait, did she just say... I knew you would meet. How do you like... Oh, how would you like to hear a useful tip? The clock shop in Holodrum's Horn Village, right? Dig around in the back of it. A friend of mine is there. Tell my friend this secret I'm about to tell you, understand? Yes. Remember this. Alright, remember this secret, Mick. You don't have to. It's going to show up on screen here. But now we're switching games. We're back to Oracle Seasons. The dash is actually important. But I appreciate it. Wait, no, this isn't the clock shop. Where's the clock shop? It's right there. We walked past it. I'm an idiot. But also, it doesn't matter because it's going to show up on screen. Everyone loves fighting with engines. How do I get to the back of it? Maybe dig. I do have a shovel. Oh shit. There's a guy. Excuse me for trying. No, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mick. Did you need me? Yeah. I had to tell you. Dash. M66H. You know, the code. The secret code that everyone knows. A message from the old hack in Labyrinth. In that case, take my test. If you pass, I shall give your sword new power. Oh no. Try it. Alright, Mick, pay attention. I'll need your help for this one. In a moment, 12 beasts will appear. You must slay them all in 30 seconds. Oh, never mind, actually. I thought this would be another memory. The last one of these was like a memory thing. It was like, I'm gonna show you a bunch of enemies and tell me how many of them there are. But never mind. We just gotta kill things. Quickly, I guess. Die. Die, 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 die. I don't think I'll do this in time. Lionels. Come on, Wizrobe. Don't fuck me. God damn it. Yes. Okay, let me do it again. Let me get my shield out. Actually, no, let me get my boomerang out. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh, do I die? How do I die? Right. I'm fine. 24 seconds. Oh, the hag is chosen well. As promised, I'll give your sword new power. You got the legendary Master Sword. Who knew that the Master Sword was just hidden in a basement behind, like, underneath a clock shop? Must be a speedrun. I wonder if there is. I'll teach you a secret that will give this power to your sword in Labyrinth 2. Right. So let me switch back. Boop. Alright, see you there, hag. I need to go talk to the Decker Tree. And then I want to try something after that. Just because I realize we can do something in town now. Hey buddy. Faeror. Kind of a shame that Faeror doesn't get her own game. Nairu and Den both got their own games. Do a secret to moving through time? Yes, I do. The secret to moving through time is at Y Club 48. Everyone knows that. That's the secret to moving through time. So, we don't get the Master Sword here because we didn't have the level 2 sword upgrade yet. But it means that when we get level 2 sword upgrade later, it'll upgrade us to the Master Sword instead. Let me double check so we don't miss that. That's the thing that can be missed. But quickly, let's go back in time. I realize we can break into the back bit of the shop. I say break into. I don't know if we're not meant to be there. We'd have to time travel to get there, which kind of implies we're breaking in, I think. think anywhere that you have to time travel to get into, they're probably not meant to be there. So the shop is usually here. So let's just try here. Nope. I think the trees are in the way. Oh no, never mind. Don't mind me, buddy, just breaking into your basement. Ooh, piece of heart for 500 rubies. I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of money. We need 800 rubies to buy the things we want out there. But at least now I know it exists. Right, did we do another secret? Let's check. We did that one. From the Crown Dungeon. I think that's the 5th dungeon. Yeah. Damn, Crash. Not wrong. Let's see. Can we do... We can do at least one more... 2 more of the... Oh, we may actually be able to do the... whole of the trade sequence? Maybe we'll do the rest of the trade sequence. Maybe we'll do that just now and then maybe wrap it up. We've been going for quite a while. Let's move this other Link back to where he belongs. Right. Oracle Seasons Link can set the tree. And we're going to go do some trading. Right. We're going to go to the present. Here. Here will do. I'll need to get something pop up on stream every time it happens, although there's no CF other than Rodney DJ, but it's true. You're not wrong. Happens a lot. Right, we need the comedian. This guy that was telling us a terrible joke about chocolate. There's gotta be an easy way. Here you go, if you wear this silly mustache, you'll be able to tell better jokes. But right, okay buddy, I'm gonna teach you the funniest gag I know. Okay, here goes. Why is the funny joke like a bow tie? Well, we got a funny joke. Now we need to go to the past again. I think we might actually be able to do the rest of the trading puzzle and get the... I think we get the Master Sword from this. Because we got the sword upgrade. Also, we're like already so overpowered. So getting the Master Sword is gonna... We'll be fucking one-shotting bosses. This isn't the right place. Maybe he's in a hut to the west, which is not this. Maybe that's exactly what he's gonna do. That's the funniest thing he can do with it. This is the hand. Not this one, right? Name is Pippin. Don't forget it. Okay, Pippin. I won't. Okay, the small home. This Zelda Dungeons Zelda Dungeons is a really good website, like a wiki that's better than the fandom one that the old one was. But on the trading sequence page it says this is acquired from Decadent in a small home to the west of Lena Village, and then the other one says no, it's like in the center. Which is so depressed, I want to laugh until I forget everything, then I'd be happy. Ha. Let's tell him the funny joke. It's a pretty funny joke. Oh, that's so funny. I forgot to laugh. Thanks. Thanks to you, I can be as depressed as I want to be. Oh no. We got a touching book. It's a sad story. Yeah, I know. He didn't wear the bow tie, otherwise it would have worked. That's enough. Like a bird I once saw fly off somewhere. This kid is... I don't think we helped this kid's depression, unfortunately. Yeah, we fucked it. He gave us a book, though. Next, we need to go... Oh, we need to find Maple. We need to find the witch lady, so we need... Let's go get Maple's ring. Oh, we got the present. Maple shows up after you kill enough enemies. Like, it's somewhat random. So we'll just... But there's a ring that makes her show up more often, so we'll get that. Let's replace this one whenever we use this one. Oh, that was it there. Maple's ring. And then we're going to give this book to Maple. Does Maple show up at any time period? I've never really paid attention to whether she shows up in the present or the past. I assume it's the present. It'd be weird if she shows up in the past. Let's go kill some enemies. Oh my god, right, we're going to listen to this terrible... I think the music in this game is worse than Seasons. Like, I don't think it's necessarily bad, but like, I find this song in particular quite great. Are there no enemies around here? I picked the worst area for this. In Seasons we had to do this, we just kind of hung out at the beach. Oh. Go up here. But it's interesting how different this game feels to Seasons, because obviously they came out at the same time, they're connected, they're... You get lost. So it's kind of weird that it's like that different. But they are completely different games. Any enemies up here? Let's go all the way back here. I think I could probably respawn enemies by doing this. Nope, I was wrong. I'll use more of those though. Here we go, Maple. That book. That's the touching book I need to take to Syrup. Why do you have it? Let me read it. What? Oh my. Oh. Oh wow. Got a magic ore. Syrup never gave me any compliments on it. I'll keep this book. Alright, now we need to go to... oh, I remember this is. We go back into the past. But we'll go into the past. Actually. Should we go into the past here? Let's try going into the past here. We need to go quite far south, so I don't know if this is the right place to do this. We might need to go back into town, but the good thing is we can go into the present wherever, so if I fuck it up, we can just do that. Oh, okay, yeah. We can't get out of here. That's pretty funny. Right. Let's set this to that. Let's put this back on. Fucked it. There's only 2 more items left. Oh no, we're going to have to do the stupid goddamn minigame again. Right. Let's go. Actually, let's just do this. I wonder if I could have done that in the past, actually. Didn't need that. Right. So we're going to past. And we're gonna go find the guy that makes boats that we talked to earlier. And we're gonna give him an ore. Right, so if we keep going south, we'll find a boat, dude. Is it this way? It's this way. Hey, buddy. I think it's this guy, the one that has a raft outside his house. That would make sense. There goes the rafting. I'm thinking of entering a raft race, but I haven't been able to find a decent oar to race with. Here you go, take this magic one. Cheat. Fucking cheat, why not? Looks like a toy, but I like it. Thanks, in exchange I know. How's this? Lazily playing guitar while gazing at the moon is so nice. I guess ukulele is technically a guitar. You got the sea ukulele. It has a sweet sea scent. Stop sniffing guitars, Link. And then the last thing we have to do is go to the Coast of No Return, which actually we might not be able to get to yet. Can access from northeast Lina to north. Oh. We've actually not been to this place yet. But I think it's where we're going next anyway. Yeah, we need to use the switch hook together. Okay, well, it's where we're going next anyway, so let's go. We'll finish this trade sequence. Maybe play up to the next dungeon, finish there. Depends. Let me check Discord quickly. So... Boney Punk should be on at some point. Any point soon, really. That's the only other person on today, so we'll go to about then, and then hopefully by then Oni Punk will be on and we'll raid into him. Into them? I just realised I should check people's pronouns before saying shit, shouldn't I? Let's go to north of Nairo's house, right? That's what we were told. Fuck. Right. Okay, we can go this way now. I see. Oh shit, Gorons. This is the home of the Gorons. It's terrible, the Goron Elder has been buried alive. Oh fuck. That's dark. Elder will die if we don't hurry, if only we had bomb flower. I don't have a bomb flower, but I've got bombs. Do you want some bombs? I mean, bomb flowers are actually better. Gorons can't take them out. If we had the legendary bomb flower, we could blast the rocks away. Well, I mean, let's try going into the present. Oh, we can't do that in here. What happened here? All the Gorons dead. Yeah, they're all just fucking gone. Yeah, let's go to the prison, see the Elder skeletal remains. Without the Elder, they all just fucking died, I think. Oh, here we go. Ever since that Big Pig, the Great Moblin game, we haven't been able to grow the Goron's famed bomb flowers. Damn it. What I came here to get. Well, I mean, that's not true. What I came here to get was the next stage in trading sequence. I do like the Goron's domain music. Always a banger, doesn't matter which game it is. Some weird building suddenly appeared here on Rolling Ridge. Some guy called the Great Moblin built it, but it's in our way. Well, let's go fuck him up. A young boy brought bomb flowers to Rolling Ridge. Thanks to him, bomb flowers are now the product that makes Rolling Ridge famous. Was that young boy us? Did we do that? Is this a time paradox? Rolling Ridge is an uproar now with the Great Moblin here. God, yeah, there's a bunch of moblins here. But where is that I need to go for this trading sequence? That's more important. I need to go down here. Actually closer to like here, I think? This picture is tiny. Oh, it's in the past, so it looks different. But yeah, it's like here-ish, I think. Great Moblin's Palace is up that way. I don't really care about that. I mean, we'll come back and do it. Thanks, Fairy. Not like we're not gonna do it. We just may not do it right now. Let's go back. We might be able to get to there from somewhere else. Oop. Oh wait, I've been here before. Getting back past here. I think we might be able to get to it from here. Ah. This is where I go. Oh, I missed the smell and sound of the sea. Here's the sea ukulele. The spirit of the sea in it. With respect to your elders, kids, I see you're on some adventure. Well, I give you something old. This is the hero's sword. That great hero gave my ancestors long ago. But it's fucked. Guess what we have to do again? What a great sound. Oh, he's just pretending he didn't know it's broken. Guess what we need to do again? Everyone's favorite minigame. Yes, we got it. We got it, Crash, finally. The broken sword we've been looking for. Can we teleport? Oh, not really. Let's go back to the present. Mike's favorite video game. That's it. He loves point and click adventure games. Huge fan of them. Right, now I should be able to go to here. Back into the past. And then we need to climb the wall again. We need to do all this bit again. But it'll be worth it because we'll get the Master Sword. I don't think we need this, but let's take it out. Right. Oh wait, we do actually need time travel. We can do this. We only just did this and I've already forgot it. I'll say we only just did this, we did the whole dungeon since this. That was a bunch of you guys. How many dungeons have we got left, actually? It looks like we've still got a ton. There's only, it looks like there's only maybe 2 more of the Link secrets left. So, maybe a case of we do the dungeon, we do the last couple dungeons, we do the... Oh god. We do the next dungeon, sorry, and we do the Link secrets, because I think there's only... There might be one that happens later. And then it might just be playing Oracle of Ages. There might not be much more Oracle of Seasons to connect with after that. Let's see. There is... Oh no, actually there's 4 more secrets. I'm talking nonsense. Next one's after the 5th dungeon, and then... Yeah, this one's also after the 5th dungeon. Sad time. Yeah, I mean, I'm liking switching between them. I think it's a fun little thing to do. Actually, there's 4 more, so we might actually still have a bit left. You fuckers get out of my way. I'm gonna go around this way, and then we're gonna climb this wall. And we're gonna have to fight a bunch of enemies while the cart goes around a loop to perform an ancient ritual. Definitely isn't just this guy got bored in the cave for ages and built a stupid train track. Up, idiot. I haven't seen you in a while. If you've come all the way up the wall, you must need something fixed. But my fun, delicate ceremony is more difficult now. Do you wish to try? No, I don't, but we need to. Let's do your stupid fucking ceremony. Let's equip the shield, probably? Let's equip a gun. Fuck it. Welcome to Patch's crazy cart. Will you partake in my ceremony? You can't call your ceremony crazy cart. That's not a thing. Place your broken sword on that green tile. Recite the words of my restoration ceremony. You must knock all the beasts that appear into a hole, so same as before. However, you need to make sure that it doesn't get hit by the cart. If you don't and it gets hit, bang. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Oh my god, let me get in the button. Fuck. Fucked it. Need to stand on the button a bit longer. The origin of the phrase, any hole's a goal, exactly. It actually came from this, not many people know that. I didn't realize you could talk to them and hear the gibberish he's saying. Come on. Ah shit, it's too late on that. Yeah. Do it again. Come on. Oh, I don't need the rolls. We've done this like fucking 4 times now. Oh, come on. God damn it. I fell in the hole. Yeah. Nope. Alright, I fucked it. It's a pain in the ass. Just fucking fix my sword. Right. stand on the button for a bit till this goes round again. Let's kill these fuckers. We did it! And never again. Actually, don't know. We might need to do this again. You go through this trap ceremony. Here's your broken sword, as good as new. As usual, I am perfect. Here you go. And now we have Master Sword. I am never coming back here. Unless the game forces me to. Master Sword can smash these goddamn pots as well. Alright, let's... Oh, it'll be like one-shot things now, look at that. It's alright, Maple, I don't need anything from you. Nope. We're in the past, right? That's the trading sequence done. We've done the trading sequence. We've done as much of the secrets as we can do just now. There are 4 secrets left. And they are... Let's see. After the 5th dungeon. After the 5th dungeon. After the... After the Mermaid's Cave, which is the 6th dungeon. Okay. There's also a shield upgrade we can get, but I don't know where we get that. I guess I could check. We found on Crescent Island. Not be acquired until after Link has already acquired the mermaid suit from Mermaid's Cave, which we've not done. Is this the 6th dungeon? Don't know what the mermaid suit is, but I assume it makes us swim better. So, let's see if we can get back up to where we were. Actually, let's teleport back to town. I think we need to be in the past as well, but we'll go back to town first. Let's see if we head towards the area we need to be in for the next one, and then we'll finish up. I don't think Onlypunk's on yet, but we'll do an offline raid anyway. If they're not on by the time we get to that place. I think I'm an idiot. I think I need to go in through town, don't I? Oh no, there's a time travel point over here. Although I guess we could have talked to Zelda. See if Zelda has anything fun to say. We haven't actually talked to Zelda since she showed up. And Zelda straight up just like wasn't in the last game. Caused you much trouble, but I can't stand by as the world falls into darkness. Please rescue Naira as quickly as you can. Yeah, fair. Zelda's antics frighten me, so please save Naira. Zelda's antics, you know, that Zelda, she's always up to things, you know, she's always getting herself into hijinks. It's kind of funny that we don't have like any shield upgrades, but we do have a sword that can one-shot like every enemy. You can't stand by Zelda, then why is the hell's Link doing the same? Yeah, I know. She's like, I'm here to do stuff. It's like, what are you doing? Well, I came here to tell you to do stuff. I'm a princess. I couldn't do things. Don't be silly. I have people to do that for me. In this case, you, Link. This way. All the Gorons are dead. I mean, they're not. They're just upstairs. I don't think we went this way last time, did we? Oh no, we didn't, so say we get this piece of heart. Or it's not a piece of heart, sorry, chest. 50 rubies! I'm not going to complain about that because we need like 800 rubies to get all the shit that the shop sells. Like a ring box upgrade and then piece of heart, I think it was. Here. Eat shit. I want to get rid of the Great Moblin, but I can't roll fast enough to get there. Long ago on top of this ridge, there was a tree that had seeds that made you go fast. Alright. Gotta go get the speedy seeds. Got 30 rubies. That's nice. I assume that that's where the tree was. And this is the Great Moblin's place? Great Moblin's palace. Oh god, okay, yes, we need to be able to move fast for this. Alright, okay, let's just go through these fireballs. Need my jump. Yeah, this is pretty cool, look at the water over there. Cool wee design. Maybe this Great Moblin's not that bad after all. His choices in architecture seem interesting. Hey, we got a ring. How the fuck did we get out here? Did we bomb a wall? Yeah, the perspective shift's good. I like the switch to 2D stuff. Oh, there's a hole down here. I see. Get out of his fish tank. Kill all his fish. Anything down here? No. Bombable rocks. Like Mario 2. So we need speed seeds to get through that. That key, I assume, that keyhole will be the entrance to the next dungeon. I assume this dumbass probably has the key? You son of a... Wait. If you move... Oh. This is what I want. Go past, see if we can get these seeds. Tasty, tasty seeds. So can I get in here now? No. So this isn't like some cool temple thing, it's just like a cool Full Goron sculpted into the mountainside. Bit full of themselves, these Gorons. Here's the tree though. Got Pegasus seeds that make you fast. Make you go faster than Sonic. Anything interesting here? You humans are looking stranger every day. What happened? What? Some racket coming out from down below. Did something happen? Yeah, your elder's like dying, man. It's Sonic the Blasphemy. I guess the Goron Elder's buried under a pile of rocks. I hope someone can save him. I like the sentence starts with I guess. I mean, I guess that's what's happening. I guess I hope he's okay. He doesn't die. I'm not gonna help. I'm just gonna hang out here. If someone could help though. Wink wink. Nudge nudge. Someone. Maybe someone dressed in green with a funny hat could help. Someone that can time travel. I don't know if someone could help. It would be pretty handy. Right, let's go fuck up this moblin. I was going to finish up, but we'll go a little bit longer. We'll see if Onipunk comes on. Right. Pegasus seeds. That's not Pegasus seeds. Can I blow up all these bombs? Oh no, am I gonna have to do this stupid boss fight from the last one that I was terrible at? Yep. You're a meddling boy. Well, this time things won't go the way they did in Holodrum. Oh, it's literally the same one. He remembers me. It's pretty good. The great trouble using the bomb flowers I stole from the Gorons. Taste my bombs. Oh, I need to throw his bombs back. So I just need to hold it for long enough that it starts to... Oh god. I would just keep streaming this until we do another dungeon, but I am going to finish up at some point soon, and then go and finish Final Fantasy 16. Oh god. We go past the new 10 world record. Yeah, it's just true. It's true. How many of those world records are Sonic games though? Not enough, I say. Everyone knows that only Sonic games count for speedrun. Oh my god. This is way harder than the other one. Hold that for me. Eat shit. Why me? Because you keep throwing bombs at people, asshole. Just take more Final Fantasy 14 ones. That's true. I don't know who you are, where you're from, but thank you for getting rid of the great moblin. That wretch was keeping us from growing bomb flowers. Now we can grow bomb flowers without any worries. Take one as a sign of thanks. Right, we'll take this back in the past. Long ago, a young boy saved the Goron Elder. Maybe you can be like that boy. Yeah, maybe we can be like that boy. Right. See if this tells me to go into the past with that. I already know what I'm doing. Your name has appeared in old Goron tales. Their legends tell of a great hero who saved the Gorons in their hour of need. What could this mean? Yeah. This is going to tell me I can run and jump at the same time, right? Oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh, those workers without turbo. Wait, someone be cheating and using turbo? That's cheating. Natural turbo fingers. Right, I assume we're going to save the Gorons and they're going to give us that key. Oh wait, I should have went into that cave because it's a fairy fountain. Could have healed up instead of hearing the beeping all the time. Okay, let's go back. We gotta go back. Alright, we're healed. Now we can go into the past and save the Elder, I guess. Oh, right. Let's murder all these things. Go away. People showing up a lot. If this tells me I need to be on the other side of the thing, I'll be annoyed. Oh my god. Actually don't know if I can get down from here. Jump off here. Turns out I can. That one of the legendary bomb flowers? You can't fool me. That's the unmistakable smell of a bomb flower. Please let me have that bomb flower. Yeah, save your fucking elder. Let's go. Go save your elder by blowing him up. Were you worried about me? A rock that size can't hurt me. I don't know, you burn it around in the future. Sorry to trouble you. This is the shiny key found in the northern peak. Never found the keyhole, so I'll give this to you. We shall fill the peaks with bonflowers. I mean, alright, you do that, I guess. Let's go back to the future. Like in that movie, Looper. But it's not even, they don't even go into the future in that movie. It was a bad choice of movie, but it was the first time travel movie that came to mind. Oh. How did we get to the keyhole again? That movie we can't name, but cannot really describe exactly. Exactly. Which one's that? Boy, they couldn't stop time traveling. That's the one. Let me go back over here. I know where we're going. Oh. I wonder if there's an easy way up now that we've done the boss moblin dude. What's everyone's favorite time traveling movie? First one that comes to your mind. Back to the Future is obviously like a really good, you know, obvious choice. Looper's pretty good. Back to the Future's first thing that comes. Yeah, Back to the Future is like a classic. It makes sense. I appreciate that Looper has like, you know, the issues that every time travel movie has, but also it's just like straight up has Bruce Willis at some point say, "Don't worry about it. It's fucking time travel. Who gives a shit?" Wait, wait. Destroy these. Ran out of speed. I'm trying to think of other ones. This Ian. And we're at next dungeon, which is where we'll finish up. There's a horror time travel film called Totally Killer released this year. It was really good. Yeah, I've not seen that. If we extend time travel to include loops, then one of my favorites is Happy Death Day. It's not really time travel, so he's just trapped in a time loop. So it's not quite the same thing. Happy Death Day is fantastic. I really like the second one as well. They're both very good. Very silly movies. Very self-aware, but also a good kind of twist on that kind of like time loop, you know, Groundhog Day kind of thing. And also a good twist on like the kind of slasher film